What up, racer? It's Jerone here, and we're here for the final league race of the year, and it was the final race in AOR. Now, first of all, a little apologies because you might have noticed that there was no upload on Tuesday for my FRL race, and that's because I didn't participate in it. I went to some friends I hadn't seen for quite a while on Friday, so that's why there was no video about FRL, and also apologies for uploading this on Friday instead of on Thursday. My last week before the Christmas break on university was quite busy, so I couldn't upload it any earlier. Having a quick little look, you can see I'm already champion in this league, and realistically it will be an interesting battle for P4 and also for P7 all the way to P10. So we'll keep our eyes on Crow, Bankai, Saz and Iceman for this race. So heading into qualifying, I put in, as usual, a lap on the mediums, and we're starting our soft run now. And you can see it was quite okay up to this point, but unfortunately going through this very fast right-hander, unfortunately you will see I run just a few millimeters too wide, and that's the first lap invalidated. Then I just continued on the same set of tires, made sure I cooled the tires down before I started the new lap, and we're second up on our medium time, and we dip just into the 1 minute 6s. Personal best around here is 0.4 or 0.5 I believe, but realistically I'm not going to get that in this single qualifying session, so if I can do somewhere around a 0.7 then I guess I'll be happy, and that's exactly what I need to do to beat the man who's on provisional pole at the moment, and that's Pasty. So we're gonna line up our lap now. You could basically hear at the start of the clip I was burning a bit of fuel, made sure to get the weight of the car as low as possible. So first of all, not much to commentate on, just a very long straight all the way down to the Senna S's. So you want to brake basically at the 50, make sure you take a lot of the inside, which you actually don't do here, but still I feel like I kept the minimum speed up quite well. Then you want to stay as close to the left as possible, but unfortunately that curb threw me out a little bit. Then heading into the downhill left-hander, try to get on the power as early as possible, and that was nearly too early, but it's just within the track limits. Now this time heading up the hill, let's see, I do manage to keep it within track limits. I use 7th gear for a bit of stability there. Then heading into this left-hander, stay to the left-hand side as much as possible. Then into, in my opinion, the most difficult corner, Bico de Pato. And even though I had a little lock-up, I think it's still quite okay. Then into the final real corner, Juncao. And do miss the apex on the left a little bit, but still I get on the power relatively early, so it definitely wasn't by any means a perfect lap, but I do think it's quite an okay lap. And as you can see on the delta, it's exactly 2/10, and in the end it's just about enough to beat Pasty for pole position, at least for the moment. But we'll still have to wait on quite a couple of other cars to finish their laps. I made sure to have enough time so I could do the in-lap myself, or if I would have invalidated my first lap, I still would have had enough time to do a second lap. The main advantage of doing the in-lap yourself is that you can save a little bit of tire wear. And as you can see here by the final results of the qualifying session, beat Pasty by 19 thousandths of a second. We're the only two drivers to dip into the 1 minute 6s. Diksha P3, solid P4. Tin Can, a returning driver to this league, P5. And my teammate in P6. So, of course, we'll have to start on the softs. Wasn't quite sure how much fuel I needed to put in. I didn't do particularly much practice for this race, so I guess we'll just have to guess our fuel load a little bit. As you can see, running 11.3 wings, that's quite oversteery I would say, so it was a little bit of a gamble to go for that. Outside of the top 10, only Sastar deciding to start on the set of hards, and basically everyone else on mediums who is allowed to start on that tire. Now, 5 red lights, and as we're going uphill for the start, it's quite an okay launch, and I easily managed to stay ahead of Pasty, leaving a little bit of space on the inside. Not entirely sure why I decided to do that, as I was comfortably ahead. And we're still leading, heading onto the main straight, well, not the main straight, back straight, I guess, for the very first time. And of course we're having to adjust to the high fuel loads a little bit. But most important thing, I managed to keep first place for now. In the top 5, only movement is, I think, my teammates overtaking Tin Can for P5 in the race. So yeah, good start I would say. And nothing really happened. I basically used a little bit of ERS to make sure I created a gap. So the top 6 has broken free from the rest. And you can also see the Red Bull there in basically the final corner. That's Rally Monster. I don't think he practiced much for this race, because he had a similar crash to that in qualifying, I think. Maybe his setup also wasn't very suited, I have no idea. But he crashes out of the race and it's a safety car on lap 5. Now this is a bit of an awkward point for us soft runners, because our softs haven't been fully used yet. And it's maybe a little bit early to go for a one-stop, and also if you want to pit for new mediums, it could work. But anyways, I decided to come in, take a bit of a gamble, and we're going onto a set of hard tires. Now, still quite a lot of soft runners decided to continue, but Tin Can and Hippery followed me in, and they're both opting for a set of mediums. So essentially we now have 5 different strategies in this race, as also Iceman and Crow decide to box on the next lap. There are a couple of soft runners trying to basically do their usual one-stop. Same holds with medium and hard runners that start outside of the top 10. Then there's myself on hards, who's planning to go until the end of the race. And then there are Tin Can and Hippery, who are most likely having to do another stop in this race. Anyways, restart time, and we're quite close to the Red Bull of Saz. He runs quite wide though in turn 1 and tried to get a bit of a switch back on, but it didn't really work, and now we're under pressure from Tin Can on his fresh medium tires. But for now we do stay in position, so we're having to follow Sazstar on old hards, and ideally I wanted to get past as soon as possible, because you don't want to be stuck behind someone who's on old hard tires, of course. And I think the main goal at this point of the race will be to make sure I don't lose too much time to the medium and soft runners out in front. As in the meanwhile we got overtaken by Tin Can. Nice send down the inside, and I wasn't going to defend that too hard by the time I realized he was trying to go for the move there. So basically the goal at that point will be to stay with Tin Can and possibly stay with Hippery, because most likely he will be able to overtake me as well. And as you can see in front of us, Tin Can is already looking for a move on the Red Bull driver of Sazstar. So he's jinking to the outside, braking for turn 1. And you can see they make contact, and actually Sazstar spins round, and I don't exactly know how this crash happened, to be honest. I think there was a bit of wheel-to-wheel contact between them. And well, in the meanwhile we'll quickly cut to the Alfa Romeo of Hippery overtaking us, so the Finnish driver up into P8 in this race. Meanwhile we go down to P9 in this race. But yeah, quickly going back to that incident, I personally think it was mainly Sazstar's fault, because Tin Can definitely left enough space. But yeah, anyways though, heading up the hill, and I think our 11.3 wings are biting us here, and that's a spin which is not optimal. I know it can happen when you take too tight of a line going up that hill, but I thought I had sorted it out with my setup, but clearly 11.3 is not working well on this set of hards. A couple of laps later I was closing up to Crow a little bit, but then I made that mistake as well. So yeah, I was not enjoying these hard tires, and you can also see on the minimap as well, see McLaren off, by the way. That's one of Tin Can's friends, XLRJ, so that's another free position. But you can see on the minimap we're not that far off behind, let's say, the front runners in this race, but they will box to a fresh set of tires and come back later in this race. But actually, an Aston Martin spun in the first corner and most likely hit the wall on the inside, possibly taking too much of the inside curb. And that means there's another safety car right at lap 18, halfway point of the race. At this point, my teammate Ralph and Pasty have both pitted. Diksha has pitted as well as Solid Ninja onto sets of mediums. So they will most likely be going until the end of the race. Now for myself, I guess the lesson I learned is you always want to be on the right tire for the restart of a race, unless you will basically be overtaken by so many cars. But considering we're P6 anyways, it's probably best to just come in and put on a set of medium tires, as I do believe, fortunately, due to the new pit lane system, I could actually ghost through the Ferrari's double stacking there. So that was great. Banka had a 5-second time penalty to serve as well. So both Crow and myself have jumped 2 positions from both Ferrari drivers, and we're still in P6 in this race, even after the pit stop phase. So do have a 3-second time penalty, but well, that was from the spin, and you could quite clearly see I didn't gain any time with that. So essentially I'm still on 0 warnings in this race, and as the race restarts again, we're immediately attacking Crow, going around the outside, and that turns to the inside for this right-hander, leaving him a little bit of space on the outside, but he decides not to fight it. And I think that's a crucial move for this race, because you want to be ahead of as many drivers on the same strategy as you. So I think that was a crucial move to make, because I believe Solid was the first, or Crow was the first one on a fresh set of mediums. So crucial move there. Then a couple of laps later, you can see Hippery left the session, and actually I think, yeah, it's Tin Can and Hippery who also came in at the same time as Crow and myself. So they were both also on fresh mediums after the safety car. But due to Hippery disconnecting, which is really unfortunate for him, he was having a great race there so far. Very unlucky for the Finnish driver. But it do means that, well, Diksha now has a little bit of a gap to Tin Can, who leads this race. Then it's Solid in P3 by now, and myself in P4. So yeah, just really unfortunate for Hippery. He was looking to get a very good result this race. As in the meanwhile, I do pick up my second actual warning now. The first one I picked up by doing my overtake on Crow, and this one was a bit unnecessary really. But you could also see yellow flags, and that's another Alpine sliding into the side of Crow, who was, I think, attempting an overtake on one of the McLaren drivers. So yeah, I think our 11-3 wing setups were not suited for this race. Although I have to say, on softs and on mediums, I felt very comfortable on this setup. Now, I've been stuck in this DRS train for quite a bit now, so I was using a little bit of DRS here and there, but this lap, Solid makes a little bit of a mistake in the Senna S's, and I get my overtake on earlier than he does. His red light's actually flashing, so we're gonna send it down the inside, and that's the position done for 3rd place in this race. And due to Hippery disconnecting, you can see there's the gap between Diksha and Tin Can. And in fact, Diksha's red light's now also flashing. And considering I have about 50% ERS, it means I have like about 40% more ERS than Diksha at this stage. So the overtake on the German driver should be relatively easy, especially considering the gap between Tin Can and Diksha is a little bit more than a second. So Diksha won't get DRS on this straight. So we're gonna turn on our overtake, and this should be an easy move, but my thinking here was to immediately get into DRS range of Tin Can, and it's basically 1 second at the braking point, but I do get my braking point completely right, and I managed to get within 1 second just at the detection point, which is in between turns 1 and 2. So crucial move there to get ahead of Solid, and you can just see it here, a little replay, jinking to the inside and getting the move done. So we're still looking to get a very good result out of this, and possibly a pole to win, but not in a very conventional way here. So we're just basically doing a bit of time lapse, and you can see at this point I was just charging up my battery, like here going through the middle sector. It's about 50%, and you will see that in a couple of laps time the battery percentage just starts to go up and up again. So that's the benefit of being able to drive behind the leader. You can just sit in the DRS a little bit and save a bit more energy due to you reaching higher speeds and having to put in more braking potential into the heavy braking zones, hence generating a bit more energy from the energy recovery system. Now, by the end of lap 32, you can see basically 100% as I leave Junção, and I decided, you know what, I'll go and get past. So this is of course quite an easy overtake once you turn on your overtake button and use your energy. And yeah, of course there was no real point for Tin Can to be fighting extremely hard at this point in the race. He will be looking to get back towards the end of the race though. He can now save a little bit of ERS, and we're looking for a titanic battle into the last 2 laps of the race. Now, for the previous lap I did use a little bit of ERS already on this main straight which we're heading onto now, but you can also see gap currently 8 tenths, 9 tenths to Tin Can, so I'm not sure what happened to him, whether my tires are still a lot better at this point of the race, but he quite clearly couldn't keep up with my pace anymore. Now, it's really important that I don't pick up a final warning in this final lap, but I can confirm I didn't pick up a final warning, and because I had the gap, I could basically cruise to the finish on that final lap. And although I will drop down to P3 in this race for now, I actually will get the win, because the 3-second time penalty from my spin can be removed. So, good race by Tin Can, was fun racing him again, and Diksha also getting, well, P2 for now, but it will be P3 in the final results. Whenever I do a league race around Brazil again, I will make sure to adjust my setup a little bit, bringing a little bit more stability, so that I don't spin out going up that right-hander. For myself, this final race was a very enjoyable race. Besides the spin, I think I drove very well, and I'm also very happy with my restarts. It's basically something I learned from Verstappen in real life. You just have to make sure you're on it right at the restart. So 2 overtakes basically at the restart, so yeah, happy with that. And also good fights, and made the crucial moves at the crucial moments on Crow and Solid. We'll quickly go into my race director now. As you can see, only 2 warnings, and I can confirm the penalty will be removed by the stewards. So we'll have finally one little look here at the overall standings. 278 points for me, but actually it will be 288 because my P3 hasn't been updated to a P1 yet. Solid, also Mr. Consistent, nice 200 points, teammate 169, nice. Past clinching P4 in the championship, and no movements between P7 and P10. I hope you will have, or have had, depending on what time you're watching this video, a lovely Christmas, and also wish you a happy new year already. I'm planning on one more video before the new year, and until the new league racing season starts, where I'll most likely join FRL and AOR again, I do have a different series in mind, which I will bring to you. Now that's it for me, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.